What's going on, y'all? It's your boy H2, Soundproze Productions, Sound Show Radio. See, we just working, man. Putting up a lot of clips of things that I'm doing, man. A lot of clips of, just places that I went, industry events that I went on to. You know what I mean? Just putting up a lot of music clips. You see, I just recently put up a footage with me and Twana Dude from Trend TV and That Is TV. Shout out to my boy Twana Dude. Put up a footage with Smoke Dizza, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my boy Smoke Dizza, you know what I'm saying? See my boy Luck Blake coming in to join the live, man. Let's get it going. There we go, man. We get ready to get you in there, man, to come join the live. We can have a little conversation about some things that I've been through as a producer and some things that we experience as producers and A&Rs and executives in this industry. So I'm waiting for my boy Luck Blake to come through. A&R and Vice President of Soundproze Productions, as well as my cousin Akil, who is the other A&R and Vice President of Soundproze Productions. My cousin Trey Banger is the other producer / EP of Soundproze Productions. So shout out to my cousin Trey Banger as well. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for my boy Luck Blake to come through. Let's go, man. Yeah, man, I sent the request for you to come through, Luck. Yes, I definitely sent the request. Let me see. Okay. There we go. You gotta press accept, Luck. Let me see. There we go.
My dude.
There we go, my dude. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, my guy. Yeah, dude, my brother, man. AKA my brother Luck Blake, my brother Brian. Let me give you the full formal introduction. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Okay. First and foremost, man, I'm glad to have you online, first of all, you know what I'm saying? See the iHeart symbols in the back, man. Look, we're about to talk that talk, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Gotta make sure everybody sees how we doing it, man. You know what I mean? Shout out to The Matrix Studios, man. Shout out to iHeart Radio. You know how we do this, right, Luck Blake? You know how we do this, man. Shout out to The Matrix Studios Network, man. Shout out to iHeart Radio. Shout out to Party 101.9 XFM channel. Shout out to Odyssey and NexusPlus.com, man. You know how we do this shit, Blake. You know what I'm saying? What's up, my guy?
What's good, my brother?
Yeah, man. Like I said, let's give you the formal introduction for the people who don't know who you are. You know, this is one of the official first A&Rs and Vice Presidents of Soundproze Productions. My brother, you know what I'm saying? Long time, man. We know each other since we was little kids, way before any music shit, way before we realized what special talents we had. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Before we was around, so.
Yeah, because we come from the same neighborhoods, and our parents also knew each other growing up. So, you know, our extension to the West Side and to the Deuce and everything goes back so many lineages. That's crazy, you know what I'm saying? But first and foremost, man, once again, shout out to my boy Brian Luckey, a.k.a. Luck Blake, man. You know what I'm saying? It's good to have you online, man. What's up, G?
I'm glad we got the time to sit down for a second and do this, man.
Yeah, man. That is a fact, man. That's so fire, right? Yo, my boy Luck Blake right now is from Harlem, NYC, just like I am. But right now, he's down in North Carolina, man, right, Luck? Tell people a little bit about being down in the NYC right now before we get into this other stuff we're going to talk about.
Well, being from Harlem, you know, right. At first it was slow until you learn how the right way for you to move.
Right.
So, you know, once I got that, it's good down here. It's good down here. You know, you got to get used to it. Once you're used to that fast pace and everything, you expect it everywhere.
Right.
But once it slows down, then you're like, okay, I can just breathe for a second and then I can make moves and do what I need to do here and there. So it's not forced, you know,
right.
It's all on you to do your thing.
Right. So good to have you on the line, right, Blake, man. We got so many experiences as well in the music industry. We're going to start talking a little bit about that. We're going to go independent, and then we're going to go into mainstream, right? But before we get into the stuff that we've been through, just in case some of y'all people don't know, my boy Luck Blake is from the legendary Hampden lineage, man. My boy Luck Blake's father is the legendary Ivan Hampden, who played drums for people like Luther Vandross and so much more, man. You know what I'm saying? Right, Blake? Talk to us a little bit about your Hampden lineage, and then we're going to go and talk to, you know, some of the hip hop and the music shit and shit that we experience. You know what I mean?
Well, my pops, he's the leader.
Jefferson Rally's $4
Right.
Then myself and my two brothers all play drums. I mean, that's what we do. Like, that's what I've always done. And my pops was a drummer for Luther Vandross for 17 years. Plays for Ashford and Simpson, Shaka Khan, Roberta Flack,
Right.
J.Lo. I can name a bunch of other people. Stephanie Mills.
That's right. Talk that talk, love, because people need to hear that.
I mean, it's just so many people he played behind. Like, I could tell you 100 people, and if you talk to him, he could probably tell you a few more.
100 more?
Yeah, like, so, you know, it is what it is. Like, he and I've got to experience, you know, just that aura before we got to deal with that as adults.
Right.
I got the experience as a kid, just being around those people, and you know they ain't no different. They have special talents, but you know they're human, and
yeah, just like we are. Just like we are.
Yeah, and so you know, I mean, I feel like where we grew up at, you got to see so-called celebrities. So when you got older, it wasn't like a certain people made you go, oh, okay, but you know, it wasn't like, oh my God, I gotta be around this person. But it was cool though. It was like, okay, yeah, I got to meet this person. That's what's good. And I feel like everybody loved that because you wasn't on them and harassing them for autographs or anything, you know.
Right.
They just want to chill. So, but that experience growing up with my pops, what he did, and helped me do stuff that I've done, and my brothers, same thing.
Right.
So you know, it was dope. It was very dope.
That's dope, man. That's so dope. Shout out to your pops. You know, I know your pops. Shout out to Big Av. Shout out to Brevin. Shout out to Yaji. You know, I know your brothers love, but for the people who don't know your brothers, shout out to the Hampton brothers. Shout out to the whole Hampton lineage. You know what I mean?
And you could look everybody up on YouTube.
Yeah, Google them.
Instagram, Google. You know, stuff they doing now, stuff they've done before.
Right, man. That's what's up, Luck Blake. That's what I'm talking about, man. We getting this going the right way, man. I'm also setting up some stuff on the screen. That's why I'm looking back. But we getting this going the right way. That's what we're talking about. Luck, we talking that talk. You know what I mean? Letting people know that we're connected to some things, man. And before you even talked about the things that you have going on, you were just talking about the lineage, you know, that you come from. You know, with your father being a professional musician, you being a professional musician. Tell the people how long, before we get into other shit, tell the people how long you've been a professional drummer and a person who plays instruments, because you play percussion, you play live set drums, and more. So tell people a little bit about that.
I started out playing congas. My first paying gig, I was 12. So my pops always told me, once you get paid for something, you're a professional.
That is a fact.
I was 12 when I first got paid to play, and you know, I played in our neighborhood, little Spanish churches, at HS Harlem School of the Arts. Shout out to Harlem School. Like, that was a big part of me. So that I was there every other day. So you know,
right, man.
Getting the real knowledge of real culture and stuff, and it was dope because I ain't leave my neighborhood, but I still got some outside culture from the neighborhood.
Right.
So it was dope. And then, you know, like I said, I've been doing this since 12.
That's a fact.
I've been getting paid for it since 12.
That's a fact, man. My boy Luck Blake is a serious musician. You know what I'm saying? And my boy Luck Blake, he's the one that's like connected to the music stuff with me as well. We're gonna talk about that. Luck is like, man, out of all my brothers, I'm like the least active one, and I'm active. You are active out here. You're on your way to a gig right now.
You're on your way to
Yeah,
a paid gig
that's
right
why it
now.
looks like I'm looking up and down. I'm watching
The road.
the road and
Yeah, you're driving right now. You're not even in the car with nobody else. You're not even a passenger. You're driving. You know what I'm saying? He's in the car alone. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. My brother Luck Blake is driving right now while he's doing this interview. So shout out to my brother Luck Blake for taking the time out your day.
With my drum in the back.
With the drums in the back. Taking the time out your day to do this interview while you're on the way to work. So we're working while we're on the way to work. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that's how you're supposed to do it.
That's a fact. This interview will be available on YouTube, y'all, and I will be talking about this on the next show on Soundproze Radio this coming week. So shout out to my boy Luck Blake. We just getting started. This is already fire, right, Luck? It's already fire. You know, me and you both know how to talk. That's why we executives, and that's how come we're able to meet people and do what we do. You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
Yeah, I'm good with people. I'm very good with people.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if they're the right people, right? We don't deal with everybody. If we don't like your energy, we ain't fucking with you. But if you know what I mean? If you present yourself the right way.
It's always good for us, so.
Right. You know, you present yourself the right way, then maybe we can work with you. So let's move on to talk about some of the projects that we worked on, you know, with Soundproze Productions, because, you know, we've been producing, Soundproze Productions has been established for almost 20 years now. We have a lot of stuff that we worked on with a lot of people, right? We're going to talk about the iconic footage that we got with Loaded Lux, you know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about when we had to upset Busta Rhymes because we already sold a Coming to America beat. We're going to talk about all of that real quick on this episode, you know what I'm saying? Right. You know, this is our version of my industry experiences, Soundproze Productions. You know what I'm saying? This is a special episode with these two of the Soundproze and Luck Blake, you know what I'm saying? We talked about this for a while. We said we was going to organize this interview, and it's happening. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's a fact. Yo, you don't worry, man. You know, we're not on it like that. You can smoke and all of that, my guy. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with what you're doing, but just in case if you want to. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no. I'm just sitting there making sure I'm good. I see police pass by watching me. So.
That's a fact. Make sure you're good. Shout out to my boy Superstars on the check-in, man. I'm talking to the Vice President as well as A&R of Soundproze Productions, my boy Luck Blake. You know what I mean? He's in North Carolina right now. You know what I mean? We just talk about some of the stuff that we've been through. We're going to start off by talking about our home team, man. The Duece. Shout out to G.E. Shout out to the whole Duece. You know what I'm saying? G.E. Soup Corona. Let's call them out. G.E. Soup Corona, Corey Ice, Lou, you know what I mean? Trap, Jerry. You know what I mean? Oban, Super Sean, you know what I mean? Boss, you know what I mean? There's so many of us, like, the list goes on and on, you know what I mean? But, you know, you got the new guys, you got Money Murph, you got 28, you got, you know what I'm saying? You got my man Todd Brown, you know, just a whole bunch of shit going on with the Duece, man. But me and you going to talk about, you know, we're going to bring it back to the beginning and talk about working with your cousin, you know, also my Virgo twin, you know, one of my niggas growing up since childhood, G.Heez, you know what I mean? Shout out to G.Heez, shout out to the Duece, you know what I mean? G.Heez, you know what I'm saying? He was the first artist that, you know, other than the Sleepwalkers demo, you know, that I did in 1996, G.Heez was the first artist that I worked with outside of the Sleepwalkers demo, and outside of also scoring the beats on state property. Because Luck knows that you and Luck, me and Luck Blake knows that was the first thing I've ever did with the beats on a professional scale. Like, I didn't even have a bunch of people that I produced songs for. Like, I think, you know what I mean? Shout out to my cousin Abdul, the director from, you know, for Rocafella. My very first thing in industry biz was taking the beats and placing them to state property. So it was almost going from like high school straight to the league, Luck. But I didn't make it all the way.
No, that's exactly what it was.
That's exactly what that is, because I didn't even have a bunch of produced records, and like my instrumentals were placed on a Lionsgate film along with Rocafella Records, you know what I'm saying? But spinning back to what we were saying, G.Heez was one of the first people that we worked with Soundproze Productions, being, you know, that's your cousin and one of my, damn near like that's your little family and damn near like my family because we grew up since childhood.
Oh,
so let's talk to we all family, you know how to do shit, we all family. You know what I'm saying? No matter how long and no matter how many, because there's so many of us in different states and all of that, but we're still all connected, you know what I'm saying? That's the fact. But let's talk to the people about, you know, the songs that we produced on for the Duece and G.'s project, just for the Duece's project, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, I produced a lot of records for them. And during that time, Luck Blake was coming through and helping us cultivate things for the project and helping me get the beats together.
That was a dope time too.
That was a dope time, right? We was getting all the beats together for the projects. We was working working on everybody's project. Talk to the people about that, Luck.
Just especially me when that was kind of like when I started moving back and forth. So
right.
I had moved one time and came back. When
right.
I came back, who was it I met? Who did I meet first? I don't remember who I met first, but you was introducing me to artists. You was introducing me to artists, and I was like, oh yeah. And you would send me some stuff, and I was like, yo, this is hot. Okay, yeah, nah, this is the one. This is that. This is that. And you was like, yeah, I was feeling this one too. I'm like, yeah, you doing some. I mean, like, yo, you a dope producer, my nigga.
Thank you, man. Went on to produce No, right? The first joint you did for G.'s was No. That was crazy. No. Take It Back to Harlem. That was crazy.
What's the one?
Take It Back to Harlem with him and Sue. That was crazy.
Him and Rob.
Get Him with him and Rollers. No. Him and Roll. Get Him first was before Rap Race. Get Him with him and Rollers.
Him and Robust. Yeah.
Yeah, him and Rollers was first with Get Him.
Yeah, that was Get Him.
And then we did Let's Go for Rollers.
I remember the studio for both of those, for Get Him and No. We sat there.
Yeah, because we recorded them at JB Studio in Hamilton. Yup. No. For Heez The Duece, right? We recorded that at JB Studio, right, in Hamilton, right?
Yep.
In JB Studio?
Yep.
Yeah, we did that in JB Studio. We did all 4 records. We did No, we did Get 'Em, and we did Let's Go. We did Take It Back to Harlem in the studio that Obon had us set up in Midtown. We had went down to Midtown and did that.
Because I didn't go to that one. I remember that.
Right. Obon had a session with us, maybe like a Circle House studio somewhere in Midtown, and we went down and did that one with that's G.'s and Soup on that one, produced by me, H2 for Soundproze Productions. And you know, Blake A&R the whole project. And then we also co-produced a couple of tracks too that we're getting ready to use for movie scores, we're getting ready to use for new projects, all of that, right, Luck?
My favorite was with Lux too.
Oh yeah, we're about to talk about that, man. You know what I mean? Shout out to G.'s and Duece. You know, we produced, before we go on to Loaded Luck segment, let's talk a little bit more. Let's talk about the record Rap Race with G.'s and Robust. I know you really like the track that I produced for that. Do you recognize the sample? I believe that's a Al Green sample, Luck. That's a well-flipped Al Green sample, kid. You know, I get crazy with it to where I start cutting up the sample in a way where it's hard to recognize. You know what I mean? I can't hear you. Make sure I can hear you. And turn your volume up. I can't hear you for a minute. Your volume went out. Maybe you muted your phone. Make sure you didn't mute your speaker. Yep, take a check. Make sure you didn't mute your speaker. If you have to, go back out and come back into the live if you have to. But see, make sure you didn't mute your speaker or anything. It's my boy Luck Blake, man. A&R, son. You can hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, you went out. You must have muted your speaker or something like that. It's my boy Luck Blake, man. A&R from Soundproze Productions. Go out and come back in. You know what I mean? That's my boy Luck Blake, man. A&R Soundproze Productions, man. His volume went out for a little bit, and then, you know what I'm saying? His volume went out for a little bit, but he's going to come back in, and we're going to continue on our conversation, man. You got to go back out. Signal. Go out. Go out and go back in. Go out and come back in. Yeah, so just go out and come back in. Pause. As far as the signal, yep. Shout out to my boy Luck Blake, man. He said he's going to come back into the live. and make sure that his volume comes back, man. You already know how we do. H2 Soundproze Productions, Sound Show Radio, having a live interview with my boy Luck Blake, man, A&R Soundproze Productions. You already know, man. Yo, man, we're having a good time, man. We appreciate everybody who supports everything that we're doing. Shout out to Jerome Patterson on the check-in. Shout out to Chris Superstars on the check-in. Shout out to everybody that's on the check-in right now, man, checking out this interview. Shout out to everybody that's going to check it out later on their own time, man. We are working, man. That's a fact. You know what I mean? My boy Luck Blake, you know what I mean? He's driving right now. I guess he was going through some signaling issues. Remember, he's downtown right now in North Carolina. I mean, he's down south right now in North Carolina, man. He's on his way to a gig. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to wait for him to, you know, try to join back into the live. You know what I'm saying? So that's a fact, man. You know how we do. Yo, man, we having a good time, man. We was just talking about some of the joints, some of the songs, and some of the projects that we produced for the Duece. You know what I mean? Shout out to G Heez. Shout out to Rollers. Shout out to Robust, man. Shout out to Soup Corona. Shout out to Corey Ice. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that's part of the Duece. You know what I mean? The people that we worked with. You know, Luck Blake has helped me A&R a lot of projects, you know what I mean? As well as my cousin Trey Banger. Shout out to my cousin Trey Banger as well. Just waiting for Luck Blake to come back on live, man, and then we're going to continue on this conversation, man. You know what I mean? If anything, if it takes too long, I'll stop this live, and then we'll have a part 1 and a part 2 to this joint right here, man. You know what I mean? So I'm going to give it like 2 more minutes to see if Luck Blake comes back. You know, if he doesn't, I'm going to end the live, and then we'll just have a part 2 to his interview, you know what I'm saying? Where we go ahead a little further and talk about, you know, him having the iconic footage with me with Loaded Lux, because my boy Luck was at the crib, as well as Loaded Lux, so they got to have, you know what I'm saying? They got to have a little funny namesake jokes, you know what I'm saying? Because you got Loaded Lux, and then you got my boy Luck Blake, so we just call him Luck, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So, you know, Loaded Lux was like, oh, I got my man Luck in here, Lux and Luck, all that, da-da-da. You know, you already know it's funny, man. Yo, so my boy Luck said he's running into bad weather again on the drive, and he said give him a few, and he's going to come back on live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this live right here, and this is going to be part 1 to the interview. Stay tuned for part 2 of the interview with Vice President and A&R of Soundproze Productions, my boy Brian, a.k.a. Luck Blake. You know what I'm saying? Other VP of Soundproze Productions, my cousin Trey Banger, you already know. Other A&R of Soundproze Productions, my cousin Akil. Shout out to my cousin Akil as well. Stay tuned for the second part of the interview. I will holler at y'all in a second, man. We're gonna make sure the signals is clear. So when Luck come back in and continue to talk, there won't be no issues. You know what I mean? I'm gonna holler at y'all in a minute. H2 of the Soundproze 1.